I invite you all to experience the fullness of emptiness. And for this, you can't use the rational mind, neither the intellect. You can't reason it or try to understand it. Because the fullness of the emptiness is right at the core in your essence. Thus, you can't search for it. The searching for it is already at distance. You can't either get it, because in essence it is yourself. You can't modify something to get what you already are. All we can do is empty ourselves, and as Papaji used to always teach and remind everyone around him to stop everything, stop the trying, stop the understanding, stop the questioning, stop the search. Stop trying to become something. Stop holding. Stop imagining. Stop everything. You see, we have a lot of distractions that we must navigate through. One of the distractions is this physical body. We may call it the physical body. It may seem to be so tangible, so real. We believe in it so much. It's made to be so real. But yet, as you look deep down into a cellular level, you come to realize that it's empty. There's nothing there. Plus all the cells are constantly changing and growing and dying. After 7 years, all your cells are brand new. And yet we still find this body to be so real. So when you look within the body, you dive deep well enough into the body, and you find, you find. It's not a philosophy. Try it out for yourself. Go deep within into the physical body. And all that you will find is emptiness. The second distraction is the feelings. We believe that these feelings are so real, isn't it? We feel these feelings every moment, and it's like a wave of rising and falling and changing. And every second we are in this process of processing feelings, feeling the feelings, inquiring upon the feelings. And it's constantly changing. But yet we give it so much importance to it occupies the space of being. But if you dive deep into feelings, you dive well enough deep into feelings, have you ever explored what is in the essence of feelings? Emptiness. The third distraction is perception of senses. The perception through the seeing, through the hearing and tasting and touch. They all seem to be so real, and they too occupy our empty space of being. And this is so interesting because majority of the people, everyone experiences some kind of lack. But how is it possible to identify with lack when you may be so full of perception of the senses and feelings? It occupies all the space within. So it's quite a dualistic, very dualistic, a very distorted, dualistic view that we carry in our consciousness. But as you dive deep into perceptions through your 5 senses, you will experience emptiness. So even in the essence of the perception of senses, you may not be able to point a finger and say, here I am, isn't it? You won't be able to grasp you. It all disappears into thin air as you dive deep. Another distraction. These distractions that I'm speaking of, these are, when you put them together, is created a bundle. And the bundle of which you call me, myself, I. So another part of the bundle of myself and I are the past memories that you carry within you, that you carry in your subconsciousness, that you carry in the unconsciousness. It's a whole data of information, memories, whether you're aware, half aware, or not aware. But they're there, all embedded, occupying the empty space of being. But yet, as you trace back or as you dive deep through any memory of any kind, you will also recognize that there is nothing tangible here. You can't place a finger upon it and say, this is who I am. It disappears into thin air, into emptiness. So this body, these feelings, the perceptions of senses, our past memories embedded in our subconsciousness and unconsciousness, and conscious awareness all together create an illusion, a sense of myself. But as you are able to unlock every matrix of these bundles, you find nothing. You find nothing. Nothing to grasp upon. Nothing you can say, this is who I am. So we come to realize that emptiness brings a lot of freedom, because there is no boundaries, definitions, objectivity, imagination. There's nothing but freedom in that emptiness. So in our society, we are so conditioned to dismiss emptiness. I can understand the mind. I can understand how this satsang may not excite many minds. Because the mind wants something to excite itself. The mind wants entertainment. The mind wants to get something. What is there to get for me here? What can I take out of this? So the mind is always projecting on some objectivity to stimulate itself. And it jumps like a monkey. It's constantly going. And as you go along with the jumping monkey, it distracts you from the essence of your being. And yet, this essence of your being, no one wants to look at it because it's empty. It's not exciting. Even some feelings may be associated, such as emptiness is unworthy. Thus, I've always dismissed it. So, emptiness has always been here. It has never gone somewhere else. But through our society and cultures and internet and social media, there's a constant bombardment filling up your essence with stuff, with things that stimulate you, whether bringing you higher momentarily or pulling you down momentarily. It's this circus of life. So we give so much value to things. And even from a spiritual perspective, people who have awakened on some degree may realize that material things are not important. Yeah, materialism is not the freedom and fulfillment is not found there. But yet on subtler levels, we are still giving our attention, our focus to all other things. To give you an example, how so-called normal it is, when you look around you, you dismiss the empty space. Your eyes get magnetized or hooked on the objects and things around you. And dismissing, not valuing what is in between. So once you see that truly, and you begin to value what has always been right here, it has never moved, it has never gone anywhere. And unless you rediscover the beauty of that emptiness, you will not meet yourself truly. So this, what I'm speaking of, is one of the first stages of going beyond senses, of going beyond perception, of going beyond feelings, going beyond body. So beyond, which is before everything, there is the fullness of emptiness. But that emptiness will deepen. That emptiness will deepen. And that emptiness, as it deepens, you lose further more of the grip or the grips of subtleties that you hold on to. You go beyond the manifestation. When you go beyond the manifestation, you trace yourself backwards. You can trace yourself back, and the further you trace yourself back, the closer you come to your true self, the closer you come to the divine, and the closer you come to God. So the way to yourself is by going within and going beyond, and going beyond, firstly, these 5 pillars, we can say, the 5 pillars that bundle the sense of myself. And as you trace yourself from the emptiness, you open yourself to the fullness of nothingness. Nothingness. Now, this is another level. It's a few steps deeper, a few steps closer. And I'm really enjoying having these meetings with you, because even in spirituality, even if you're on your spiritual path, you might find yourself constantly processing. You recognize that. It's a constant processing. And my intention today is to bring you beyond processing to a restful place of nothingness. And nothingness is no thing. no thing. And there's no lack of something. There's no feeling of abandonment. There's no feeling of fears. It has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with that. But if you can inquire for a moment to recognize that you have a focus and attention, and your focus is constantly hooked on something and processing, whether something good, whether something bad. It's a constant processing of sensing and tasting and receiving and healing, transcending, and constantly. So your focus is what takes you out of this nothingness. And the nothingness is behind your focus. So what you see, what you feel, what you experience is a one small slice of the fullness of nothingness. So you must go beyond perception to be able, you trace back, you come to your focus, you go beyond your focus, beyond perception. And that's where you can rest in the boundless. It's a boundless body, so to speak. The boundless body, which is so deeply restful, beyond processes, beyond ideas, beyond any comprehension. And that nothingness, though it is called the great void, it's a void of mind. It's a void of something. It's a void of objects. It's a void of anything material. It's a void of any form. It doesn't mean it doesn't exist, and it doesn't mean that you should dismiss it in any way. So this is what I find to be the biggest dismissiveness that we experience as human beings, or as being incarnated in this human body for a while. Dismissing constantly the true nature of our being. Because there's nothing there. And because there's nothing there, the mind dismisses it. Or the mind believes that it's unworthy to rediscover it, to rediscover your nature. So this is why the teachings of Papaji have, stayed with me. They've struck me so deeply because I understood him. I understood his message. When he used to say, stop everything. Because unless you truly stop everything, you are not able to truly meet the essence of your being. So this great void is like being in the womb of the Divine Mother. You're tracing yourself back beyond the manifest, beyond the form. And there is no philosophy that can put this into some structure to give food to the mind to try to understand. It is for you to rediscover that nature in you. It is your responsibility to realize that nature as you. Until you meet yourself beyond the thing, beyond that focus, until you reverse. It's like reverse engineering. You see, this is what engineers do when they find some technology from other advanced civilizations and they can't understand it. They don't know what it is. They don't know how it functions. They don't know how to bring it active. There's no buttons. They don't know what to do. So how do they figure it out? They reverse engineer it. Same thing with us through our consciousness. To understand truly, directly, experientially, you have to reverse engineer what has been conditionally been made up, reverse and rewind everything, and come to that place which is beyond birth and death. And that is nothingness, a deeper emptiness, which dissolves itself even further, deeper, beyond the universal mind, because the universal mind is the manifestation of the universe. See, nowadays on Gaia TV and on so many other alternative platforms, everyone now is speaking of the universal mind, the universal self, the consciousness of the universal reality. But that is a manifestation. That's not the end. You must also reverse further that manifest, that manifestation came through the unmanifest. So everything begins from the unmanifested planes. Thus, you too is the same. We can't be different. This is not a dualistic view. We are speaking beyond duality. Thus, what is in you is everywhere else. It is the same. So this is why when you explore yourself, you're exploring the universe. If you trace further back into the unmanifest, well, that's what you're also exploring beyond the universe. And tracing yourself back to the source of the nothingness. And here, as we speak, you can recognize that it's not an exciting topic. No, it's not a topic that it's going to bring a certain happiness or excitement to it. But this is why what we speak of goes way beyond the language that we are communicating in. And it is for you to give value to that which has been dismissed for eons. And once it's becoming experiential, you realize the fullness of the nothingness. Because it's full of yourself. It's full of yourself. So you empty yourself out from stuff, from things, and you become fulfilled just by being you, just by being in your nature, just by being home. You are fulfilled. So check in with yourself, because there might be a lot of maybe wrong ideas, wrong beliefs on what emptiness or even deeper nothingness is associated with. So you can bring awareness to that, so that it does not mislead you anymore, so that you can unhook them from your consciousness, because they are misleading you. For example, people are sometimes afraid of emptiness. They associate it with loneliness. It is not the same. It's just an association. Some people are afraid of the unknown, of this great void. But for some people, the unknown is associated with fear, is associated with abandonment, which they have nothing, absolutely nothing, no association at all. And this is the biggest trickster of the mind identity. Because the I, the feeling that you have now about yourself, it's a bundle of stuff. It's a bundle that makes up, it's a makeup Yeah, it creates a certain makeup. It could be polished up, of course. You might have done a lot of work on yourself and polished your makeup very well. Yeah. But there is a sense of myself. And when you are ready to go beyond that, you will find the ultimate and absolute freedom. And it's way beyond happiness or peace. It's way beyond that. It's way beyond contentment. It's way beyond. It can be seen as bliss. It can be seen as divine nectar. It can be seen as boundlessness of your being. So we have to become nothing at first. Yeah? We have to become nothing. We have to undress everything. We have to lose everything, so to speak, to be able to not gain, because even gain, when you gain something, you can lose it, isn't it? It's beyond gaining, because you can't gain yourself even. It's a realization of the ultimate truth, the ultimate wisdom, the ultimate power of light, and the ultimate power of love that is unconditional and untouched by anything. And since we live a very busy life, we hardly have time to empty ourselves out. And if you don't have time to empty yourself out, then how are you going to meet yourself? And this is the biggest struggle that we experience in this life. So don't waste your preciousness. Don't waste that. Because even when you pass away, when you leave this body, you're still going to carry everything with you apart from this body. You're going to carry all your worldly attachments. You're going to carry all your karma that you haven't burnt out. You're going to carry all your illusions, all your resonances, all your fantasies. You're going to carry everything with you. If you think when you pass away, it's going to be peace and love, it's not how it works. You carry with you what you have right now. You go to the plane of consciousness where you resonate with right now. You travel a according to the resonance of the light you have within your soul. So don't wait. Don't waste time. This is a precious, very important lifetime that we all have right now. Don't give it up because of the worldly activities that distract you away from yourself. And this is why it's so important to speak of topics which might be boring to the mind. Yes, I understand. Nobody wants to talk about emptiness or nothingness. But I find these to be the most important, most important key openers for us. Because no one in the media is sharing how important it is to empty yourself out. It's the opposite. Now, everything is trying to fill you up with distractions and temporary pleasures of life. And then guess what? Now you come on your deathbed and hey, it's too late. There's only so much you can do. It's too late. You can be helped, of course. You can be helped, but there's only so much you can do at that point. So being here, incarnated in this body, yes, it's very limiting. It's extremely limiting to live in a third dimensional reality. But because of this, we are accelerating so much. Our soul is advancing so much, so rapidly, so fast. Because it's all happening in this most gross of levels. But that doesn't mean forget about yourself. And I know that tomorrow is going to be another day. And you might be forgetful again because we're so used to focusing on something with a desire beneath it to fulfill me in some ways or another. It's a very deeply ingrained mechanism. All that we do in life is to fulfill some of our desires. It's to give us the pleasure of some kind and fuel the desire of sensual perceptions. And that will not take us anywhere on the spiritual path. So to really liberate yourself, take the opportunity in this lifetime to recognize your nature. And yes, your nature is void of any form. Yeah, it's void of any boundary. It's void of any defined objectivity of any kind, even the most subtle of feeling or beautiful space of some kind. So our path, it changes, it shifts a lot, because at first we're indulging with the pleasures of life, indulging with the foods, indulging with this and that, indulging because there is such a big sense of separation from God within. So we're indulging to fulfill ourselves with food, with pleasures, with entertainment. Yes, that's happening, yeah, because of the deep disconnection from inside, from within, from the divine. And eventually, throughout our spiritual journey, then we realize that, and we start emptying ourselves out. We go out to a party and we feel so exhausted, and we just want to go home and empty ourselves out, empty from energy, empty from talking, empty from this and that. And that comes a phase of just wanting to empty yourself out because you're too full of everything around in this world. You know, wherever you go, you are bombarded with something, with energy, with sound, with activity. It's like too much. So then you want to escape this world, find your cave, go up on a mountain, run away, go to a retreat to empty yourself out, isn't it? And then once you empty yourself out, fully, you empty yourself out, guess what? You realize how full you always have been. And how full you always have been. The fullness of consciousness. It's not the fullness of what we know of to be full, but it's an eternal fullness. And it's a fullness of bliss and nectar of the vine. And fullness of naturalness.